Tuperas y tuperas today on Doop by the River. What a weekend it was for the Philadelphia Union. An absolute thriller in Chester, Pennsylvania. We're going to look back at that NYCFC matchup as, guys, it's a rapid one this week because the Philadelphia Union have a 2-for-1 deal again. First up, the Chicago Fire on the midweek match. We're going to look at that matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. Let's get this started, guys. Done!
Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Doop by the River, first off, thank you so much for tuning on in. But if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you hit the like button. It would truly mean the world to us. And, of course, all of our live broadcasts are viewed on here on El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and never miss out on an episode of Doop by the River live, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, I am joined by the man of the many nicknames. And today, it's a beautiful one. Justin, Paul Rushing Fan Club, Prez Friedberg. What's up, Justin? What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. What a weekend. What a birthday gift. I mean, I think I can say for a lot of people when I say that my heart was racing the whole second half. And the adrenaline, the energy, I slept like a baby that night. Just what a game, what an atmosphere. And I know people don't love to say it, but you can't deny that in the last few years, Philly NYCFC has become an absolute grudge match. Dare I say the R word, rivalry. Of sorts.
It feels like, if you know what, like, to me, it does feel like we're kind of part of an NFC East, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, like, who to say I hate more, because, like, right now, like, there are times where I feel how you feel at NYCFC, or I feel that way towards the Red Bull, or I feel that way towards the Revs. So it's tough for me. I think I just need to see some more matchups between all these teams, man. But one thing, you're right, Justin. For the two, me, NYC and Philly, it's always a great matchup, dude. And it was a lot of fun on Sunday, dude. But I want to ask before we get to soccer, but how was the tailgate, brother, man? It was Justin's birthday, so I know that John was lit.
Yeah, it was a nice one. I think I was taking it easy because I did have a late night the night before, and and it was a hot one. It got. I was surprised there wasn't a hydration break in the game. I mean, it did reach. I think it was at least like almost 91. I think a game time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hot, and so hydration was key. Shouts to our buddy Mr. Adam Booth, who
yes, please,
who I'm glad he's on the mend. Glad he's feeling better. Absolutely put in a session with on the capo stand, and I wish him all the best because it's always good to see when Adam's up there doing his thing, but health is more important. So I know they're recording right now, but hope you're on the mend. Hope you're feeling better, buddy.
Look at that, man. Podcast shout. I do like that. But yeah, I saw the pictures. I reached out to Adam. Like, obviously, when I see Adam in a freaking stretcher, I start panicking a little bit. So it was good to hear that he's fine now. And yeah, hydration is definitely key for sure. But Justin, we do want to move forward, and we are going to get to some serious stuff real quick before we dive into the soccer part of it. Here at Doop by the River, like all of us here, even Tim and Zach along with Justin and I, we never have problems, and we always feel proud of talking about social issues that mean a lot to us. Obviously, we all know what went down on Friday. And obviously, Justin and I are active on social media. We saw everything that went down. We saw everything from the sidelines. I'll just say this, like for me, I kind of hated seeing like because you felt the anger, right? And I know that all the anger was towards obviously the situation that went down on Friday. So, we were talking in the group chat beforehand, and we were trying to because we always want to bring these situations for when the whole situation with BLM came down, we were vocal about it. The gun violence, we have been vocal about it. Mental health, we've been vocal about it. We will continue doing that because honestly, we're human beings and we go through this as well. But we were talking like, how do we talk about this? Like, we don't want to offend anyone. Like, we have our thoughts, we have our opinions. But shouts out to the group chat in general. But Stevie had a great point that everyone that's involved with Duke by the River, we're all guys, right? We don't have we don't know exactly what that decision on Friday really means, because at the end of the day, we're not the ones that are going to have to go through those measures. So we wanted to get the perspective from the woman, from the female side. So we have a great dear friend of ours, Dr. Zoller, who's going to come in here, and we're just going to discuss here. And so first, hello, and thank you for coming in here. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, we really appreciate it, and especially on such short notice as well. But we won't take up too much of your time, but we do want to get to, kind of the nitty gritty of this discussion. So first, obviously, Friday, the news came down. Everyone had an opinion about it. For you as a woman in 2022, what was the initial reaction you felt once that decision came down?
It's crushing. It's such a step backward, and it's a step we shouldn't have to take because, quite frankly, I don't understand why somebody else should be telling me what to do with my body. And I'm a woman who has pretty good financial means, so if necessary, I could travel to get the health care that I need. But there are so many women who can't. So this is an issue where abortion will continue to happen. It's just that it becomes less safe. So the decision has removed health care from over half of the U.S. population, and that's just infuriating.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, like, you feel that. Like, I get emotional hearing that, and I can feel like the pain behind your voice as well. Like, it is truly, it's just absolutely, truly heartbreaking what's been going down. But so, for us here, the perspective of the Union fans, what we, obviously, there's been discussions throughout social media about the notion where major entities, companies, sports franchise need to come out and voice a state or some sort of a statement regarding the situation. For you personally, because obviously this affects women, right, in the United States. For you, do you need that type of statement to come out from different companies or franchises or bigger entities that you support?
So at this point, I think not giving a statement is also giving a statement, basically. So if you're just letting this slide by, I think you are taking a position. That being said, I would want to make sure that the company isn't just giving a statement for a statement's sake. So I would be interested in who is the company donating to, for example, politically, and I would want those two things to align, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, no. I completely hear what you're saying, and I completely agree with you. I mean, obviously we all love this team, and we don't know. And I think that's the frustrating part is we don't know why it is. Like, I think a lot of us can see the Union are always part of these social issues. They've done it before, but why the silence now? And I completely agree with that. But Doctor, anything you want people to hear, anything that people need to know during the situation right now?
So I just had a baby 11 months ago. I don't know if Justin told you, and it is such a deep-seated, invasive medical process. And I think if this issue is important for you and you think that life is important, I would urge people to look at comprehensive packages. So if you think that children are important, or if you think that abortions shouldn't happen, think about improving sex education, think about improving access to contraception, and then once the children are born, think about programs that will help children. I think that's how you make much, much more of a difference. And it would just be great to get a conversation started around that, because I think there are solutions that we can take if we just start talking about it.
It's crazy as it is. Communication. It sounds so little, but does such a big thing for sure. Oh my God. Well, listen. I don't want to take up too much of your time. You really have given such a great perspective, and I really appreciate Justin as well. We really appreciate you coming on in here and giving us your perspective for sure.
Thank you for giving me that voice.
Absolutely, absolutely. You enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much to Doctor there for coming on in. Justin, anything you want to add on before we move forward? I mean, I know this is a heavy topic, but we have to talk about these things, man. Because who will, dude?
No, and I think I always appreciate Silky as a dear friend, someone I regularly weekly play D&D with her and her husband, who are great people, and their daughter Sophie, it's actually known as Scooter in our group, is an adorable baby. But no, I fully agree. As someone who has had family members, my cousin nearly died from an ectopic pregnancy and had to have a hysterectomy, and that could have been handled, with an abortion. My sister is in the process of looking to adopt, and for all these people who are trying to strike down abortion, well, how about you give a damn about all the kids in the adoption and the foster care system, and the kids who are struggling for homes in an absolutely broken system. And how about you fix the system? And so it's frustrating, but as she said, we're just men, and I why should I or any other man have a say about what happens to their body? And the fact that we're going backwards, it feels like we're going back to the 1950s, and it is insanely frustrating how progressive and yet backwards we're heading, and it's mind-blowing and frustrating. And I feel sorry for all of my female friends and family who are basically being told that their bodies don't matter and that they don't have a say over the healthcare they can get. So it kind of kills me, but I feel like I shouldn't be too surprised these days.
No, not at all. And I'm gonna leave it at this because look, you know me, I like to be honest. For me personally, my whole life, I've always been against abortions. I guess if you want to use the term pro-life, whatever it may be, I felt bad just like going through that type of surgery. But as you get older, and the one thing I want everyone to take away, the one thing I have learned in my life is that you have to sometimes stop thinking about yourself and what you're thinking and try to put yourself in someone else's shoe. I know we have a lot of effed up people in this world right now, and I try to look at that perspective. It's not a pretty sight, but because just because we are human beings and we have certain views, don't think that that opinion that you're putting on someone is valid, because you don't know what's going on. You're not in those shoes, and that's all I ask. Just try to put yourself in someone else's shoe and see their perspective. And you don't have to use it for these types of situations. It can be for anything, even an argument of sports if you need be. But putting yourself in someone else's shoes, it really just makes such a big difference. And so we feel proud bringing this together because look, we're a soccer podcast, but we love the people who watch soccer, watch us, and we will always stand by fellow human beings. Right, Justin? Even 100%. If they're Rebel fans, right? Well, as we transition, I think Doopsburg gave us the great one. Doopsburg, I'm wearing red because obviously I'm a Red Bull fan and I'm covering the Philadelphia Union. That's kind of what we do now. Come on, Doopsburg. It's Phillies, baby. It's Phillies night. I just started the game. I literally just hit play. I got the game going here because we got to cover that later. So we still Union fans. Wait till tomorrow. I'll have the Union blue and gold, man. AK game is checking on in. Big game tomorrow. I don't know for which side though, Justin.
I mean, it's the side that well, I mean, any game for Chicago is big because you're constantly looking up.
Yeah, dude. We'll get to that in a little bit, man. It's not looking good for the Fire, but Costa Rica missed. I guess they're playing. Are they playing? Aren't they playing the U.S. U20s?
Yeah, it's 2-0 right now. This is a spot in the U20 World Cup.
The U.S. got this right,
The U.S. wins today. They get a spot in the U20 World Cup.
dude.
With winning today, they would advance. They would then have a chance to qualify for the Olympics.
This is big, Justin. Like Jim said, I mean, this is valuable minutes. This is valuable
I mean,
experience they're getting right now.
It's huge because the U.S. hasn't qualified for the Olympics since 2008. So, like, it says a lot. There's been several lost generations that have not, been able to play.
Did I ever tell you the time I was in Colombia and the U20 World Cup was in Colombia? Dude,
No.
that's country shut down. And everyone just was in anticipation waiting for the U20. I mean, that's what James was on that team. Dude, it's a pretty cool experience witnessing just any type of World Cup, and we'll see it in 2026, man. It is a beautiful, beautiful sight. But Justin, I real quick, it felt like this past week, like we went back into time a little bit to like the 2010s with all like these Lorenzo Insigne arrives to Toronto. Obviously, the crap that's going on in LAFC, it's freaking wild. Hector Herrera going back to Houston Dynamo. I mean, dude, like, did you not feel that a little bit? Like a little nostalgia, a little retroness?
So I definitely think the Chiellini signing and the Bale to an extent. I mean, he's still a high caliber player, but the injuries are taking a toll. I actually feel like with the Insigne signing, and I was saying this to someone because it made me think. It feels more like a David Villa type signing, where, because think about it, Villa was 31 when he came into the league, had plenty of other offers in the absolute prime of his career, could have gone to a number of teams in Europe. Decides to go to MLS. Insigne, 31, 32 years old, still in phenomenal form. Could have easily stayed in Napoli or played at any other club in Europe. Decides to come to Toronto. Like, yeah, they're getting paid fairly well, but this isn't like a cash grab for them. This is, hey, you know what? This league is actually pretty entertaining. It's getting exciting. It's actually worth players in their prime, in the areas where they would be getting an insane payday from some of these European clubs. We know the MLS can't offer that kind of money, but it's a different type of challenge. It's a different, and a lot of the players, and Cena even said it, and Keely, it's a different type of challenge. It's something that, you know what, why not? And it's the fact that it's getting that kind of respect. There is a bit of nostalgia with the Chiellini signing, but I think you're seeing the David Villa signing was one of the first where it was like the evolution of a superstar in their prime coming to the league, and I think that's the kind of signing you're going to see more and more. Of course, you're going to have the Chiellinis, maybe the Ronaldos, the Messis. You're going to have the guys at their end of their careers, like that. That's going to happen, but the whole retirement league thing has, I think, been shaken because you now have players that typically would have been going to the league in like maybe 3 or 4 years, but they're coming to the league and they're still in their prime. Like that is what blows my mind, is that we are now a preferred choice for these kind of players, and I love it. It really does make me feel positive about the direction of this league.
I think that's where I'm a little conflicted. It's the why. Why are we coming over here? Like I don't want that retirement league stuff to come over here. But like I said before, like I always use the blueprint of the Wayne Rooney, because I really felt Wayne Rooney was the perfect signing for the club that he went to. DC needed an injection more than anything. And that dude literally was steroids for that club. Dude, they were on a playoff drought, and he comes in, he changes the culture. And in a half a season, they made the playoffs. And that's the type of signings I want. Like, I don't want guys to come in here and think that they're going to breeze by because they played such and such matches in Champions League, won Champions League, won La Liga, won Bundesliga, because that doesn't matter over here. You think that a guy like a Brujo Martinez cares about what the hell you did over in Europe? No. And that's what I want to see. I got into it on TikTok with a Calcio creator. And he was disappointed that Lorenzo Insigne came over here when he has such more quality. Now, first off, I know Lorenzo Insigne. That dude was not going to suit up for any other team in Europe that was a Napoli because he's a Napolitano. He loves and he breathes and bleeds that city. So he was not going to play in any club. And I do think, like you, he saw it as a challenge. I want to believe that Chiellini, Bale, and Insigne see this as that challenge. And it makes sense. Like, dude, the U.S. is one of the biggest sporting markets in the world. So, like, why wouldn't you want to come here? So I think, to me, Justin, why are we coming in here? But I think one thing NYCFC wants to know is why can't we beat at the Union when they have their full 11? You know, well, why can't they do that? But of course, Justin, let's move into the what happened on Sunday. Dude, what a match. 2-1 victory here for the Philadelphia. Before we dive into any type of soccer talk, dude, Jim Curtin said it perfect. Union games are the thing to do now. A sellout crowd. You had Brandon Aronson returning back home, banging on the damn drum with Chad Ochocinco coming all the way from Kensington to go to a Union match, and he's hanging out with BA. Dude, I felt like Inter Miami's like showing off like Timothy Weah and Tyler Hero. Screw that. We had BA and Chad Ochocinco over here. Dude, that was pretty cool.
You
pretty
know,
cool, man.
Yeah, LAFC is bragging, Kylian Mbappe's at the game. And we're like, yeah, we got Ochocinco. Like, the dude lives in Philly now. And
sick.
Like, I think he's an adopted son here. Like, the man has taken to Philly more than any athlete that hasn't even played here. Like, he was already like, I think I admit a number of us were like, hey Chad, come to the game. Like, dude, because he's a big soccer fan. He's an insanely
former
good
member of Sporting KC. I don't think
he had a trial there. He legitimately could have signed there. I know he had a trial down, I believe, with Miami FC. Maybe I know it was down there. He's a insanely huge FIFA player. He loves soccer. He's good buddies with.
What position is he? Do you think, Justin?
He's good buddies with our old Fafa. Yeah, he's and so like it's like, hey, why not? And he was like in the prior days, he was trash talking NYCFC fans. Oh my, he was going ham.
Really?
In the mentions, and there's, oh my god, it was wild.
Justin, it's like Justin, he's trying to recruit KD to Philly. Like, that's how much he loves this city already.
Exactly. Hey, listen, Chad. If you want to, combine with KD and use your combined star power to recruit some superstars, hey, I'm all for it. I'm sure. I'm sure we can swing an Anton Griezmann or hey, maybe a Neymar. Maybe Neymar wants to come to Philly.
Oh my god, and the choices. Exactly. It was pretty awesome, man. That's what you want to see, dude. And this team is becoming bigger and bigger on an American scale, so we definitely love to see it. But the action on the pitch definitely warranted the star power on the sideline. For the Philadelphia Union, the usual suspects as your starting 11, the first choice starting 11, as we will say here. But to start it off, I'll say this in the first half in total, the Union really set the tone. Like, they frustrated the crap out of NYCFC through for one half. And then in the 9th minute, a great long ball from Jack Elliott to the right flank to Alejandro Bedoya. And great run by Michael Uwa, who gets past Callens, and Bedoya gets this low cross, and Uwa got like the slightest touch on this. Like, this was the softest touch of life, and it goes right past Sean Johnson. And the first DOOP right in the 9th minute. Later on in that half, it again kept frustrating NYCFC. Then we move into the second half, and this is where the fireworks went down. We had like 10 minutes in the middle of the second half, a scrum in the center of the pitch. We'll talk about the legend that is Paul Rushing in just a bit, but you had Jakob Glezis bear hugging the athletic trainer. You had Castellanos, Acevedo, everyone, but Brujo, everyone just trying to get into this scrum, and we got Castellanos and Brujo hugging each other, and then the late game heroics or the late game shenanigans continue with both these sides. 89th minute, we get a handball by Kai Wagner, which I'm going to get Justin's opinion on that in just a second because I have my own opinion on it. But that led to a PK that Tati Castellanos hit Andre with a little bit the hezzy, and he got that ball past Andre Blake. So it was tied up with injury time here now, ladies and gentlemen. And then in the 96th minute, off a throw in, thank you, Tim, thank you, Justin, we get a ball that kind of squirts out of the box. El Brujo Martinez all alone. And everyone, no, don't take the shot. We know he's about to Cody Parkey this John. And he gets a good touch, a couple deflection, last touch by Corey Burke, which then redirects into the back of the net. Sean Johnson's falling on the ground, and we had to go through VAR because, of course, there was an offside notice there, but it didn't matter because Corey Burke was onside. Everyone's going wild. Justin was about to go streaking on the freaking pitch, and the Union with an absolute thriller get the 3 points. Much needed, by the way, against NYCFC. Justin, dude, I'm thinking about this game. I'm getting excited again. Bro, the last goal, what was your initial thought and feeling once you saw that Sean Johnson falling in general?
It was like, of course, everyone's first reaction is, oh, for the love of God, Brujo, don't shoot it. Like, I don't even know if that thing was going on net. I mean, Sean Johnson was diving, so it could have been going maybe just wide. And then, like, you looked at it and you're like it, you couldn't tell, like, it hit a body and you're looking at it like, you're like, I'm pretty sure that hit Corey, and like, it was that slow loop, and it was like, oh my God. And Johnson was already down and you're just like, you're freaking out. And then, like, I think I quickly, like, just as quickly as El Brujo stopped celebrating, I also looked to the side official and was like, oh no, like, I was like I stopped and I tapped my buddy on the shoulder. I'm like, oh, like, shit, like it. And then I'm like, everyone's like, what, like, and then I, like, Tim and I are like, oh man. And then, Tim's tweeting away, and I'm looking at him, like, I tap him on the shoulder, I'm like, Tim, like, he's looking at it, like, his hand has been to his ear this entire time, and of course now he, occasionally you have to, step players away, and then I'm like, wait, he might actually be listening to this. And sure enough, when he does the hand motions that everyone in this league knows, the old little box, and you're like, oh boy, here we go. And it did not take him very long to make that decision. True. Like, I want to say in 30 seconds would be would be generous to how long it took him, because within 15, 20 seconds, he does the motion again and points, and you're just like, I think my brain didn't know what to do at that point, because I exerted that much energy on the initial celebration. I think I just, like, I don't know if I said, like, losing control of your limbs and just kind of flailing is kind of like, I think that's what my body was doing. I was going absolutely insane, and holy shit, like that moment, easily a top 5 regular season moment.
Top 5? You're going top 5? We're gonna do this one day. We're gonna do this one day.
I think also just in the scale of regular season games, and for me, last second winners really, like, I feel like you'd have to create a list for, like, last second winners and last second equalizers, because, like, there's I could go on a list of a bunch of those, but yeah, no, that was a top 5 regular season moment for me.
Damn, dude, that was really, really good. I mean, that moment was, I couldn't believe it, man. Like, of all people, Brujo too, and I obviously had help from Corey Burke, but the thing is that when El Brujo takes those shots, Justin, like, it literally looks like a field goal. Like, there's no, like, straight line trajectory to where it's just like whoop, and then he hit it right. He did perfectly fine. But yeah, thank you to Corey Burke. What I felt from this match, really, and this is what I kind of want to ask you. Do you feel like NYCFC didn't show up, or that the Philadelphia Union actually did show up? That makes sense.
So I feel like it's not necessarily that they didn't show up, and the reason the answer is a little not conflicted, but tougher to describe is because it was confusing at first to start the game. And I mentioned it to Tim, and we kind of started looking. The first 10 minutes, NYCFC was pressing high. They're not a pressing.
I actually laughed at that one, by the way.
Like, they're not a pressing team, and I saw that from the start. And yeah, okay, did the Union kind of not fall asleep, but they were a little slow with the movements? Yeah, but I think they know how people try to play against them. Like, they know how to play that system, and what you saw in those first 10 minutes before the goal was the Union were getting were those balls that they're trying to get over the top, they were working, because while Collins and Chino are solid center backs, they're not arguably that fast. And Tavon Gray and Chris Gloucester were pulled at the half. They had a terrible first half. I mean, the Union strength is through the wings. And on that goal, once again, the NYCFC was still trying to press, and I think they abandoned it after like 10, 15 minutes. Like, once that goal happened, they scrapped the pressing motion. But in that goal, Ali Bedoya with a great blind run. I mean, he got lost in on that end line. Jack Elliott just puts a ball over the top, and again, the reason that we signed Mikel Ua, and I think when healthy, because he only played 65 minutes, I think when healthier is gonna be an absolute dominant force. But you saw the reason we signed him. Maxime Chanot was on his back shoulder and staying pace, step for step, and then just like that, Ua, bam, straight to the front post. Like, and if you look at the highlights when we signed him, the highlight package, literally this is like most of the goals that he did was he would get that burst, that initial step, either the front post or the back post on the defender to get that separation. And that's all he did. And that burst enough was able to get him that. If you look at that goal, he just gets a toe on it. And I think Sean Johnson was down to make the save. And so he had already committed to that. So it's why he just kind of sat there, because that ball just got rolled into the net. Like, stood there, made sure he was on top of it, making sure that ball was going to go in. And I think that was the kind of the story of the first half, was the Union really just took it to NYCFC. They wanted the Union to turn the ball over. Initially, they were trying to press. It wasn't working. They reverted back to their system. The Union the possession numbers were fairly even. Like, in the first half, it was like 51 to 49%, which is high for the Union. But it even in the second half, like, not much was changing. The Union were still getting good chances. I still think, Ua was robbed on the doorstep by Johnson. Carranza was robbed on the doorstep. Corey Berg had some there were a number of chances. The Union could have finished this off a little earlier. So that was promising that they were getting the better chances, and the chances are coming. It was, and I definitely think NYCFC is kind of in a weird limbo pattern right now, because, I mean, they just lost their coach. The assistant coach, Nick Cushing, has been there for a while. Like, he was on the staff, so it's not like they don't have familiarity with him. But it seems like they're kind of trying to figure out what they want to do now. And the Union stuck to their guns. Like, I know we talked about, they should change things up. Well, that one thing is, the NYCFC tried to mix things up, and it burned them. Like I said, they changed the outside backs at the half. They brought in Abear. They were going for it. They was clear that they were desperate. And I really think like that penalty was a lifeline to them because it was clear the way that game was going, they weren't going to get a goal in the run of play. Talis Magno had like 2 chances in like 5 minutes that he hit directly at Andre Blake. It was clear that the team was off their game. And, I think it was, overall the team really, it just felt like they, the Union showed up and NYCFC just kind of, it just felt like they just kind of were like, after the way that the results have been, midweek, against Open Cup with Red Bull and Colorado game, it just feels like they're kind of in a weird pattern right now. Not like, I don't know if NYCFC has a chance to be concerned, but it's almost what exactly is happening right now, and should they be concerned over the next few games?
There was parts in that first half, and I remember that those 10-15 where they were just using that high press, and like I mentioned, I giggled when I saw it. Trying to use the high press song. What's wrong with you? But no, after that, like there was just a couple moments where I just felt like they were just lacking a little bit of intensity. There was that one flick in the final third where Daniel Gazak just flicks his ball up, and he had no business of getting this ball himself. But then you had
the one where he and that was the one where he ended up passing it to Carranza. But
yeah,
like the ball should not have gotten back to him. But
exactly,
the entire defense, like the entire NYCFC defense, just kind of stood there. It did not know what to do, and I think Gazdag at the first was like, "Oh, like he thought Carranza was going to get to it. Didn't the defense was going to close it?" And then in that quick instant, as he realizes, "Oh my God, no one is going for this." He pounces on it, stops, looks. Carranza is booking it, just lays off a nice pass. And again, Sean Johnson came up with a great save. But, those are the chances. It's like you could tell NYCFC was just – it felt like they were out of sorts. Like they did not know exactly what their plan was for most of the game.
And I feel like after that whole scrum – the scrum I'm talking about. I felt like they got a little bit of a jolt because that got them going. I mean, they got all wound up, they got all pissed off, and then you saw it in turn. So I do agree with you. I think because if you remember when we had Trey on, he told us that none of the players essentially, and I guess this was a rumor too, none of the players expected Ronnie Dylat to leave. So there could be sentiment right now in the locker room where they just kind of feel lost. When you're like manager or coach, I guess he was sort of like a father figure to these guys, kind of just up and leaves after the special year that they had. I mean, they probably do feel some type of way, but this is a professional league, and Nick Flushing's going to have his work out for him to get these guys rolling in the back in the right way. I mean, look, we've never swept NYCFC in our history. Like I know it's like since 2015, but still, like we've never done that. It's kind of a big deal. So I'm curious to see how they kind of bounce back, just from a league-wide perspective. But the handball. So I guess I'm not understanding the rule completely. That just might be me. But once Kai Wagner goes down, my thinking is, like, when you slide tackle, right, like your hand kind of is in that weird, awkward position where it's kind of up. And he was going for the tackle, and Tanner Holm, he just hit the ball in his hand. And that's kind of how I viewed it. But I guess I'm not understanding the rule completely, because then remember before in that 110th minute, which probably shouldn't have been playing at that moment, but Nathan Harriel almost had a handball situation, and that was not a handball apparently after looking at it again. So I guess I'm just not understanding the handball rule these days.
Yeah, the Kai one was curious. I guess the letter of the law is if you make yourself unnaturally big, which in that sliding motion, like he's not very far away. There's not a lot he can do. It's unfortunate. It is the letter of the law. The call was correct. The Nate one, yeah, I still like Villarreal was talking with the VAR official for a long time. Like we're like, oh no, is this happening again? Like, and the thing is, in the moment, we didn't see it. Like all of a sudden, you just see the ball cleared, and you're like, what is happening? And then Villarreal just does the motion and waves off, and that's again, I'm like, because I'm like, wait, did everyone was confused? We're like, wait, is the game over? Like, what just happened? And it was a mind-boggling end to the game. That was a confusing one for sure. But hey, 3 points is 3 points at the end of the day.
That is absolutely. It was a wild sequence there. Of course, the real MVP of the match was Mr. Paul Rushing, man. It's crazy. This dude's been here since day freaking one, and from my understanding, he always sticks up for players as well, man. He turned out to be a rock star this weekend, Justin.
Yeah, so first off, like if you've seen the man, he is a hulking individual. Like, looks like he should be in the Sons of Anarchy. Big bushy beard, like got a ZZ top, full sleeve tattoos. That dude, even
what kind of bike do you think he drives or he rides, Justin?
I would say a Harley, but I feel like it would be funny if he drove like a Prius, just to kind of like buck like with the expectations of what people think. But like, this is the second straight game where a player's tried to fight the athletic trainer for doing his damn job. Like, I understand players think that will start faking injuries, but the athletic trainer's job is to determine whether it's fake. If he's called over, the whole thing is for him to come over. Like, that's kind of how it works. Yeah. And yeah, like the fact that against Portland, Sebastian Blanco wanted to fight him, that one made no sense. But then in this situation, he goes over to Carranza to issue treatment, and Acevedo comes over and gets in his face. Yeah. And gets in his face and tries to pull him up, and Brushing's like, hey, I'm trying to do my job, like, back off. And then that's kind of when it happened. Like, Collins gets in, and he's like, it's like these players are getting pissed at him. It's like, hey, your guy came in to try to stop this person from doing his job to treat this player, and then the dust up happens. It's like, okay, yeah, could Rushing have maybe done a little thing better? Yeah, but you know what? Like, his job is to treat the player, and I don't understand this whole thing of like player, like, you try to pull a player up, like, even if they're faking, it's not going to look good regardless. If you're trying to yank a player up, like, that's when dust ups happen. That's when multiple cards happen. Like, nothing good's going to come of it. So,
Justin, no man likes when another man puts their hands on him. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, it was just stupid. And the fact that so far we've heard that, Paul is suspended 2 games, which I still think is crazy. Like,
that is wild, dude.
So he misses tomorrow and he misses Sunday.
But is there ever been a trainer to get carded in MLS?
No, I was saying this. I was saying this to my dad. I'm like, I have played countless soccer games. I have watched thousands of soccer games over the years. I've seen coaches. I've seen owners sent off. I've seen a lot of things. I have never seen an athletic trainer being sent off for shoving a player. Like, it was genuinely mind-blowing. It's like, hey, I can cross another thing off of a list I didn't know I had.
I seen a trainer get kicked out of a game. I guess what I will say is I feel like this does happen quite often, but I just feel like Paul just doesn't put up with the crap. Like, I think that's kind of what it is. So, kudos to Paul. But yeah, like you mentioned, that suspension is really ridiculous. But Justin, what's a little bit more ridiculous is El Brujo also got suspended. So if you guys didn't see, I mean, this picture went viral. And as El Brujo was leaving the pitch, he's going through the tunnel. he puts up the two old "I love you" in Philadelphia language up to NYCFC supporters group. And so the MLS decided to fine him, which I'm assuming the Union are going to pick up that tab. But then, our friend over at the Free Kick Pod, Todd Lewis, put out the tweet through the Free Kick Pod Twitter account. A picture of Drake Callens did the good old bird as well to the SOBs. So double standard again here for the Philadelphia Union. Like, what is it with disciplinary and the Union and the MLS? Like, I don't get it. Like, we always get the shit stick, man.
I mean, you can literally sum it up in the league has apologized for the Union twice for missed red cards. So
what does that do for us, MLS?
Like, I think the double standard is mind blowing. Like, hey, was Drake Callender fined for that bird? No. Then why was Brujo fined? Like, I'm sure, and our boys the Cooligans talked about it today. That was the subject of their Shouts to USA episode today. Was, hey, I'm sure the NYCFC fans, in fact, they go, we know that NYCFC fans took pictures of the situation, and I'm sure they were flipping the bird right back. So
they probably said some worse things than flipping a bird, Justin. Let's be real.
They probably listen. They probably said something about his mom's, and that stuff don't fly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with you, man. Look, and I said this in the group chat, Justin. Like, I probably wouldn't find him, but if I'm Jim, I'm like, yo, Brujito, you can't do that. You're a role model. Like, there was probably kids in the stands. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's just not a good look for a club.
But also, he's Philadelphia. Like, I think he gets way more respect, and I think Philly fans look and go, this guy, good or bad moments, is Philadelphia personified, wears his heart on his sleeve, is not afraid to get stuck in, is honest, is emotional, is passionate. And I think at the end of the day, I think that's what gets him more respect in Philadelphia. Is just, hey, this guy knows what it means to be a Philadelphia athlete.
All right, so talent-wise, not the same, but talent-wise, he reminds me of AI. In the sense that he doesn't care about the size, and he plays with that fire and that tenacity all the damn time. I wish he was like AI on the pitch. Like, that'd be a different story. But kind of the way they like interact, like they're kind of the same way. And they set the tone. AI set the tone a lot with a lot of his hard work.
He definitely. I will compare him to another current Philadelphia athlete. He gives a Travis Konechny kind of a vibe.
Oh, that's a good one.
Think about it.
With TK too.
But think about it. That pass, that annoyance, that gnat, that player that gets under your skin, and anytime you retaliate, he just gives the biggest shit-eating grin on the planet, and just like, ha, I got you. Like, and I just that's like, I feel like those kind of players are like skill wise, like. That kind of attitude is what endears them to the fans. Like, it's just like, hey, this guy, people might hate him, but he's our villain. Like, it's like Tati. I'm sure if Tati was on our team, we'd love him, but we can't stand his guts because he's on a close rival. Like, you know what? Brujo is. He might act like kind of an ass sometimes, but he's our ass. He's Philly's ass.
Exactly. Well, hey, Justin, we have our own Argentine striker that we kind of love right now. And look, Jim said in the presser, man, he wants to keep him long term. I mean, I don't know how the money's going to work. I mean, because that
whatever that I know there's a buy option in the loan deal that's probably at a significant discount to what my
who's a DP, no?
He's a young DP.
Okay.
But it's still like the buy option. It's probably similar to like a release clause in a transfer, like player's contract. Like, you hit that release clause and he's not free to discuss, or he is their player. Like, I believe that buy option is available. I don't know the price, and I'm sure we never will. But based on that, I don't see why the Union wouldn't. Like everything that he is doing with all the stuff and all the chances he creates and all the hustle.
God,
I literally he is like this is the striker tandem that I think the Union have been looking for, because you have a workhorse striker that can put up the numbers, but wants to do everything. Obviously, not only score, but he wants to do everything. He wants to be all over the field, and even in the 85th minute, he's still running his heart out. Even when you can tell he is just exhausted, he is still running, still pushing it. Like that is absolutely the kind of player that you look at it and go, like, what the fuck was Miami doing with him? Like, and that's the key question. It's like you look at him, you look at like Lewis Morgan with Red Bull. It's clear Miami just doesn't know what the fuck they're doing even now. Like, yeah, they got Campana, but like they got some good young players, but they really have played some players out of position. It's just like, man, you guys really fucked it up.
Jeez Louise, and it continues down there as well. I'm going to end this talking about this match with one thing only. I do keep hearing rumblings of Ali Bedoya hate. Justin, he already has tied his goal total the last 2 seasons with 2 assists this year. So the old man still got it. Not only just with the nice drip. I saw what he pulled up at the World Cup at Love Park, man. That was a nice suit. That was a good combination. So my Capitan still got it, man. Still got it. So Justin, we got a match tomorrow. All right, a little midweeker. And it's against the Chicago Fire, who kind of have been falling pretty damn hard. Maybe
off the off the Empire State Building, off Sears Tower, off Trump Tower. They are free falling, my friend.
AK Gaming, we do apologize. We love you, but I mean,
but your team's trash. Like, they're not sugarcoating it. You trash, butt cheeks. Just you are taking the wooden spoon from Cincinnati and running with it.
It's funny because it was like the first 3 or 4 weeks, like they were like in the top of the table or close to. I think they were in first base for 1 week as well.
Well, remember they were one of the undefeated teams. It was like,
oh yeah,
they had like 1 or 2 wins and the rest were draws, and it was like they don't score any goals. Like it's been like 0-0 draws or like what? Like no wonder. Like it's like no wonder why. And then they beat like KC, who has had a really rough year, and it's like, okay, let's not give them let's not they're still crap.
Yeah, and here's the thing as well. Like they made a move to kind of bolster the attack. They went out and got Shaqiri, who obviously AK Gaming talks about as well. They went out and got Kasper Shabilko, which like we joke around sometimes about it. I mean, we know what Kasper is. I mean, he's got the records, but what was the one thing we said when the move happened? Like, what's Kasper going to do when he realizes he doesn't have a Daniel Gazak or / Brennan Erickson or Jamiro Montero feeding him balls? What's he going to do when he doesn't have fullbacks like Kai Wagner or Olivier Mbaizo? I mean, we know Olivier's not best defense, but can deliver a ball, and Kasper and him have a couple connections, if I'm mistaken. But like, what's he going to do without that type of quality team? And Justin, we're kind of seeing it now with Chicago, man. Can't finish.
Yeah, like it. They made all these moves. You bring in Kasper, who needs service. You bring in Shaqiri, who has been hurt for a lot of the season. Like that was one of his things. With Leon was he just couldn't stay healthy, and now bringing back Chris Mueller after his very, very short stint in the Scottish Premiership. Like that's kind of a hometown because he's a Wisconsin boy. Like, and their defense was supposed to be improved. Like that's the thing. They made these signings, and for the first part of the season, it looked like they were like, okay, they're not going to be great, but at the very least, they were going to be stable enough to maybe be, in the running for that last playoff spot for like maybe till like the last month or two in the season. Like it felt like they were going to be close, and then they've like it's we've seen it when Casper doesn't get service. First of all, he loves to go wide, and there's no one running underneath him, especially with not Shaqiri, and Christian Yoler isn't the same he was in Orlando. It's clear that it's a shame because I think Ezra Hendrickson has potential to be a good coach, but it's clear that some of these moves just did.
Is this true?
Yeah. Oh, Shaqiri is the highest paid player at over $8 million.
Oh, Chicago.
But it's and that's the thing. It's one of those things you just go, man,
But even when I think of Shaqiri's career, Justin, he's had spurts, never consistency.
I mean, there's a reason. He was pretty good at Bayern. He was good at Liverpool. He's been good for the national team. But yeah, it's mainly been mostly bench roles or a lot of super subs and spurt appearances. It just felt like the right move if they had I feel like better attacking options around him. You knew the risk. You knew the high risk. It was a high risk, high reward signing when you brought in Shaqiri. You knew the risk, and you still brought him in. I think Fire fans were excited, but also had to be thinking, man, you just got it. It just has to be something you just saw in your head going, shit. What could be happening? What if we don't have service? If Casper doesn't have service, it's not really gonna be great.
That's what it is, man. We warned Chicago for that. And that's good to see. I mean, I've seen it as well. I mean, even for a bad team, they're putting out at least 17,000. I think they had 50,000 K game for the attendance at one point, but I guess it does show, Justin, that if you do put a product out in downtowns of these cities, you might get some sort of interest. But if you really want to bring butts out to Soldier Field, you're going to put out a good product. Chicago's a similar sports town to us. They're crazy about their sports teams, but they want something that's going to win, man. Unless you're the Bears, Bulls, or Cubs, you're not going to pull out too many fans in the stands. So it is definitely a problem for them as well. So, look, when you look at this, Justin, Jim mentioned this as well, the whole trap game narrative. And look, Chicago, I will say, when I watch them play, they do know how to possess the ball. If the Union do not play Union soccer, they're not physical. They don't get in their face. They don't create those turnovers. I don't see how to get through. I don't think we get less than a point. I don't see an upset loss here. But if we don't play Union style soccer, there could be very well we get that draw, especially on the road there. But how you feeling about this whole trap game situation? It's bound to happen.
I think it's a valid concern. I think going to your play, you have two games this week, both at teams who are not playing well. Chicago at the bottom of the table, and Columbus is third from bottom. There is a potential to think, oh man, this is easy. But at the same time, I think Jim, the one thing is this team has been better on the road. We're not, outside of the game against Toronto, you haven't gotten less than a point on the road. So realistically, I'm not expecting less than a draw. I think the one thing that the Union are going to have to do, and you talked about physicality, yeah, they're going to have to play Union soccer. They're going to have to be pressing. They're going to have to. I think these balls over the top are going to be big because you have a slightly older Chicago defense. You have some better center backs, but I think you should easily be able to play the balls in between the lines and get in behind and do what kind of how the first goal was against NYCFC. So
wait, Justin.
And Gaga Slanina has not been, his form has been shaky lately, and with that and the way the defense is, the Union, I don't think are they're going to have their chances. There's going to be a lot of chances.
Justin, they're still pulling out Jonathan Bornstein.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, 2010 World Cup. World Cup player Jonathan Bornstein still playing,
Dude,
right? I
what?
know it is. I almost forgot he was still there. Like that's how. Yeah, right. Talk about a blast from the past, baby. Jonathan Bornstein. Wow.
He's 37 years old. My God.
Man, that is.
And
That is
the Sixers
awesome.
fans complaining about PJ Tucker, 37 years old. Chicago's got a whole fullback who's literally from the 2010s, man. Our team is injured. Oh man, I did hear about that. I did hear what's his name? Urza Herrickson, is that his name? The manager?
Ezra Hendrickson.
Edra Hedrickson. Yeah, talking about the injuries that they've been having, man. But listen, it's tough. But they put together an older team as well. So I mean that kind of is bound to happen.
I think that's kind of the concern. I mean, outside of their homegrown Mauricio Pineda, like I think their roster's ton on the older side. Like they have some young talent. I know was it Duran, I think was the young player, and I know they brought in the guy from Liga MX. But like it's an older roster, and
Yeah.
that's gonna have, if you have an older roster, even with the way this league is, especially with the crunch with this, the scheduling crunch because of the World Cup at the end of the year. This was kind of a foregone conclusion. It's why depth is kind of a big thing right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what else too? Chicago doesn't develop players. Like I guess Fabian Herbert may have gotten better there, but like even
Maybe
Mahalovic,
Jordy Mahalovic, but
he got better once he left.
well, I think he was also got some injury problems, so I think that
That's
was
true.
part of it. But like, yeah, they don't have a great history of developing players.
I mean, besides this goalkeeper who's like linked to like every major European club.
He's
But
got to start playing better. Slanina's had some rough outings lately.
I mean, what is he gonna do when his team is, all due respect, AK Gaming, trash?
Yeah, I you know what? Like, I think. Listen, I think it toughens you up to I've
That's
played
true.
on some trash teams.
It made Andre Blake stronger.
Yeah, yeah. Look at some of the shit. I mean, what was I think about, was it Andre's first season? When he made the 10 save performance against New England and in a draw, and those teams, that Union teams were trash. Like,
Whoa, don't talk crap about Richie Marquez. What's wrong with you?
I love Richie, but those teams were trash. Like those teams were butt cheeks, as I said previously. Just like
Come on, AK Gaming. What?
yeah. I mean, he could be potential U.S. M&T goalie if he in the way that.
All right, AK, let me ask this: what do you think he would do if he was the Union's goalkeeper? That's what I would ask.
I think he'd be putting up pretty solid numbers, to be honest.
Like top 5 goalkeeper numbers, top 10 goalkeeper numbers.
I easily top 10 at the minimum. Yeah, I think the Union defense allows, like, Andre is a superhuman player, and the fact that he doesn't have to always make these insane saves, but when he does, it comes in big. Like, I think Slanina, obviously he's young, he's 17 years old. Like, that it comes with the age, but like, I also think he would be an insanely, like, Slanina would absolutely benefit from the Union's defense.
Okay. All right. Well, another question I want to ask you: how many shots do you think Casper gets off tomorrow?
3, and I think.
You think 3?
Well, you didn't say on net.
The first half.
You didn't say on net. You said shots.
Any in the first half.
I think he puts one right at Andre, and I think another one he skies over the crossbar like he usually used to do for us.
Oh my god! Or the header that's just like absolutely. Like, how are you like 5 feet away and the header's like wide left or wide?
Or the header goes right into the ground and the goalie can just pick it up. It's like that was pathetic.
I promise, guys, we love Casper, but listen,
We
like
do, but like we also warned AK Gaming. We warned you guys like as much as we love Casper, if he didn't not finish like the way he missed those chances, he legitimately could have won the Golden Boot. There's no sugarcoating it. He would have won the Golden Boot.
Champions League winner
with the amount of easy chances he missed in the league. It was just mind blowing.
That's true. And thank you for that Golden Boot in Champions League, because I think that actually helped us get we got like 2 mil or 1 mil for him. So
1.1, I think
something like that. So it definitely did help us there. But Justin, as far as us go, right? How much do you see Jim going deep into the bench? Like, I think on Sunday he went with just Corey. How deep do you think he's going? I mean, Matt, you got Maddie, right? Obviously, no kids this week.
Yeah,
at least tomorrow.
Yeah, at least till tomorrow. I think you're not going to see too much change. I think depending on how the half goes, you could see some subs maybe at the half.
I mean, if you're up 2-0 by the 60th minute, I mean, come on, I want to see something.
I think at that point you would obviously take off. I think you take off. Obviously, Uwaz off. I think you put on if Corey's good, because I know he was kind of sick. Like they said he had a flu or whatever. Like towards the end of the game, I know they like basically said like I think after the game he did like throw up. Like he was not feeling well at all during that game. I think you could definitely throw on Donovan, Matt Real. Like I think you might make all 5 of your subs if you are up 2-0 in the 60 or 65th minute. I think you make wholesale changes and you rest players for Sunday. Like,
I agree. I mean, yeah, like I just want to I want to see like them go use the bench a little bit. More so for the fitness reasons, because obviously you're playing a lot of freaking soccer. But I just think that it's going to be important for them to just rest up. So see what we'll definitely bring out. AK Gaming. If this legitimately happens, I will give you $500. All right, if he gets a hat trick, I will just PayPal, Venmo, whatever, $500 to you, because that certainly is not happening.
He's got to get a shot on goal, like one goal maybe. I couldn't even say a brace without laughing so hard. Like the way his form is and the way the Union defense is playing, I literally cannot see that.
He has to be getting frustrated too. Playing there.
I mean, he's still getting time. He's got his contract. Like it's kind of what he wanted. It's. I mean, he knew. I think he had to know what he was getting into. Like Chicago didn't improve much from last year. I feel like you had to know.
It's like Tyree Hill going to Miami, man. You don't got Pat Mahomes, brother. So enjoy it. You got the money. You ain't got no Pat Mahomes. All right. So do you mean we have to use the first choice lineup, man? Like we.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Starting is going to be the same lineup as Sunday. There's no question.
Prediction. What do you see happening tomorrow in Chicago?
I think a 2-0 win. I think 2-0 wouldn't be a crazy result, even midweek on a kind of short notice. Chicago's not playing well, and I think if you can take it to them early, I think you really the Union style. And like I said, I think if you're up 2-0 in the early second half, you make those subs. Like I understand Jim, and I think Jim's going to mention it. This could be a trap game, but I think he's going to put it in the player's mindset and go, you just came off a grueling victory against the top team in the East. You are now top in the East. You have a target on your backs. I think Jim has no problem getting these guys motivated, so I don't really foresee that issue. But yeah, 2-0 Union win, and we focus on Columbus.
If we win 2-1, I'll be honest, I think people are going to freak out a little bit. Because you're going to get that notion like, oh, you're supposed to destroy these type of teams. I don't care.
A win's a win. At the end of the day, I get tired of all the, you should kick their ass. It's like 3 points is 3 points. The the standings don't say unless outside of goal difference whether you kick team's ass 5-0 or 1-0.
And why do we treat this like this is La Liga? Like you don't have Barcelona and Real Madrids and Atletico Madrids and then have Tenerife's and Getafe. Like you don't have the pair. Like everyone's pretty close. It's closer than you expect. We just look at the Eastern Conference standings. Like look how close that is. Like,
you're not. It's not Real playing.
Real
Alaves, like or Mallorca or
Deportivo La Coruña.
Yeah, exactly.
I like this game.
Or
Let's name it
Sporting Gijón. Like
yeah.
Like these clubs are like, okay, yeah, they seem to be kicking their fucking ass, but like there's no way in hell even Union Chicago, it's like it's 2-0. It's not going to be like 5-0 like when Austin was beating a couple teams 5-0 like Miami, and it's like okay, come on, those kind of results are not commonplace.
To Ryan's point, Justin, it'll be really cool. I would love to see the Union score 3 goals. This have we scored 3 goals this entire season? Like, I'm trying to think. Like, I can't remember scoring more than 2 goals.
No, I think the max has been 2.
I mean, it would like. I don't know if they'll do that tomorrow. Be honest.
I don't know. I mean, it would be nice, but I think 2 would be sufficient. I've always said 2 in most games should be enough.
I agree, but here for me, and obviously this attack still needs to get comfortable with one another, right? But I do feel like this attack got significantly better all season. You can see the talent. I do feel like Gazda, Ua, and Carranza, everything running in full motion, they could put up 4 goals in a game. And I'm just waiting patiently. I'm waiting patiently. I feel it coming, but I think it can happen. I do want to see it, man.
Yeah, it would be nice. Like I said, it's one of those things that you're like, okay, I get it. There hasn't been much, consistency. The UA has been hurt, but I think it. Look at Godstag, second year, he's running, running all off cylinders. I think UA. I think this year it's not a wash, but I think we were expecting a lot for a guy who had a lot of issues coming into the season, just even getting into this country, and then injuries. I feel like that was just the thing you're just like, okay, you know what? First season's always rough for players. Second season, but I think second half of the season, just like Gosling did last year, I think second half of the season, who could be dangerous. He's getting goals. That's what he's already at 3 goals this season. He's getting them. Or at least 4. He's getting the goals. He's being in the right positions. At this point, if he could put up 10 goals, at least 10 goals, the way he's getting goals, I think that'd be at least a pretty good first season, because all things considered.
Yeah, no, you've seen a lot of moments of pure talent and quality something you've never had at that position in our club's history. So, I do think that it'll come with time, man. It should be fun tomorrow night. We typically do play well up in Chicago, especially this is going to be our 3rd season playing in Soldier. They've been since 2021, right? Or 2020 they played matches.
2020 was that was a weird, because obviously with no fans, it was
right.
Weird.
Where will you be watching this, sir?
I will be watching from this position, from the
Couch
from
FC.
From the good old couch behind me. Probably
the real bunker.
Oh yeah. This is the real fortress.
Ryan, we do need to ask, how's Toronto with the Lorenzo Insigne arriving into Toronto, Canada? MLS players always shoot for late June, early July.
Yeah, I think. Listen, Seattle is literally the epitome of first half of the season can mean fuck all for a squad.
Dude, they won Champions League, so I'll take that.
Yeah,
right?
second half of the season is kind of where you get into form.
Yeah,
you make playoffs. I think it's one of the things that it don't mean much until the end of the season.
And that's why, Ryan, Daniel Gazdag, and MVP talk. MVP.
It's amazing still how much disrespect he's getting. Like the fact that he is having a quality season. It's like, man, that my man's gets no respect.
That's what happens here in Philly, man. Just like Joel Embiid getting disrespected again. It's gonna happen to Gazdak. It's the Philly thing, man. I don't know what to say. Just they don't like us, man.
Yeah, shit happens.
Shit does happen, man. All right, guys, do it for another episode of Duke by the River. We will give a big shout out, a big thank to Dr. Zoller for coming on here, giving her perspective. We will be we'll figure it out. So we're gonna figure out what's gonna go on for the rest of this week. Obviously, with double matches, it gets a little bit tough. But we'll definitely make sure you guys are posted on Twitter. We'll announce everything on Twitter. What we're going to be doing for the rest of the week. But ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe for all the live viewings of Duke by the River. You can find us where podcasts are available, Apple, Google, and Spotify. Find us under Duke by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin, Paul Rushing Fan Club, Perez Friedberg. Of course, I go by the name El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to do